Michelle MacLaren, you're an executive producer of the Paramount Plus series Coyote and also directed the first two episodes. It's a crime drama about the drug trade in Mexico and the American Southwest, which is a similar milieu to Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul that you've also worked on. So, what interested you in telling this particular story from the point of view of a former Border Patrol agent?
Hi, Daniel. Thanks for having me. I was watching Fauda, which is a show on Netflix about it's an action crime drama that's really underneath about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And I was thinking, wow, it'd be great to do a story about our border conflict between America and Mexico. Very different, obviously, but and a script came across my desk called Coyote. And I read it and I absolutely loved it because I felt on the surface it was an entertaining action drama, but really underneath it's a conversation between America and Mexico. And it allowed us to put a character from America to walk in the shoes of somebody that they have been basically keeping out of our country for many years as a border patrol, and allowed them to open their eyes and see that the world is not black and white, that it's gray, and put our lead character into the shoes of somebody that he's been in opposition with for many years, and to really understand what it's like to walk in this other person's shoes and to really open their eyes and see that there's multiple sides to every story.
And one of the most visual striking elements of the series is the use of that physical space, that landscape, the desert, a lot of wide shots. Tell me about like capturing those locations and finding where to shoot. Like what was that? What was that scouting like?
Well, you're seeing a giant grin on my face because we said to both Sony, our studio, and the network, Paramount Plus, we said we really want to go to where this story takes place. And they let us go to the real places. We were all over northern and southern Baja. We were right up to the border between Mexico and the U.S., and we were all the way to the southern tip. So we were in the desert, deep in the desert. And we went to locations that it was so hard to get to, but so stunningly beautiful. It was worth it. And Michael Chiklis, who stars in the show, he's a very long time friend of mine. And I called him when we were scouting and I said, look, I just need to know that you're going to commit to this physically because we are going to go for it. We are going to go deep into the desert. We are going to go onto cliff tops. And he said, absolutely, let's swing for the fences. And it was physically one of the most demanding things that I've ever done, but stunningly beautiful. And our incredible crew just took the cameras everywhere. I mean, it was whether it was with dune buggies or whatever we needed, and on our backs, hiking up with ropes up giant sand dunes. And it was spectacular. It was really breathtaking. And when we were scouting, I thought, I wonder if the studio is going to let us do this. And I took out my cell phone when we were out in this one particular part of the desert, and I just did a slow 360 and sent it to the head of the studio. It was like, you just looked at this location, there's just no denying, like you've got to go there. So it was very, very brave of both the studio and the network to let us do it. But I really feel that we transported, hopefully, the audience to these actual places, and they are spectacular. It's a beautiful, beautiful part of the country.
And when you're out there, like what are some of the logistical challenges in terms of keeping everyone safe, hydrated, and producing everything safely, and like what are all those considerations like?
Well, it's a huge collaboration. You have a huge support team. It's hard because you've got to figure out how you're going to get your trucks and your equipment and everything, plus the water and food and everything for the crew deep into the desert. So it's in those particular locations, you're looking at the vehicles that are transporting them, not just the vehicles that you're going to shoot with. And you have to be really mindful. All day long, people are saying, drink water, drink water, drink water. And you have to also, the other thing that's really hard is you have to think about it. Sand is like snow. As soon as you walk across it, you've got footprints. So we've got these beautiful sand dunes. We don't want to ruin them. So we have to create paths and trails for the crew to go around that are safe logistically, and for them to carry heavy equipment. And what we ended up doing was making these foam shoes that we tied on to our shoes so we could actually walk across the desert and not leave tracks. And this is something that migrants actually do, and to try and keep away from Border Patrol, is they put pieces of carpet or foam or something on the soles of their shoes. So we actually use their technique to move around our set. It's logistically challenging. We had this amazing Mexican producing company who basically figured all of that out for us and got us into these really difficult places. You have to think about, obviously hydrating the crew and just the safety of watching out for scorpions and snakes. And we had a snake wrangler in certain places. We were in one place that was a giant tarantula field, which I luckily didn't see one, but lots of the crew did. And we were all educated on how to deal with these things. And just really being mindful of each other and watching out for each other when working in these extreme environments.
In addition to the physical challenges of shooting in the desert, you're also telling, obviously, a very emotional story. What was it like working with Michael Chiklis on that emotional journey that his character was going on as he was kind of embarking on this physical journey as the character and even as an actor going, putting himself in these physical challenging situations?
Well, Michael's an animal. I mean, he is an absolute tiger. So you say to Michael, "Hey, can you run up that 100-foot sand dune?" And he'll do it 5 times. I mean, he's awesome. And as I was saying earlier, Michael and I have known each other for almost 30 years, and we've always wanted to make something together, but we're looking for the right thing. And when I read this script, I couldn't imagine anybody else playing it other than Michael. And so I called him up and we went out for dinner and I pitched him the story, and he said, "I'm in. This is so exciting and such a worthy story to tell." But we also talked about how it's going to be both physically and emotionally demanding. And he loved the idea that he was playing this character who had a certain point of view for so long, just from the where he grew up and his job, the nature of his job. He had developed a black and white point of view, but didn't realize it. He was prejudiced, but didn't realize it, and that he's going to be put into a position of walking in somebody else's shoes and being exposed to another reality and changing his whole point of view. And he loved that. I mean, he just thought that was incredibly exciting and wonderful opportunity to shine a light on conversations that we should all be having by by putting his character and hopefully the audience into somebody else's shoes.
And you're directing the first 2 episodes of the series and very much setting the tone for the tone and the style of the show. How is that like a different challenge or even opportunity as a director compared to if you're coming into a show that's already established?
Well, it's very exciting. I mean, I feel lucky to direct whenever I get to. When you're creating a show, it's even more exciting because you're there from the ground up, and you get to help, as you said, set the tone and the look and the style of the show. And in this particular instance, it is somewhat of a modern day Western, and we wanted it to have that feel. And it's so much about point of view. Storytelling is all about point of view and subjectivity and understanding that when something's happening, it might mean something to one character. Their point of view of a certain situation is completely different to another character. And we wanted to show those different points of view. So that was really important to us in setting it up. And I always love, I mean, all these directors, we all love being able to transport the audience into the show, into whatever it is that we're making. And so that you're going to feel what's going on. You're going to feel the emotion, the fear, the excitement. And that's really fun when you get to set up how you're going to do that, how you're going to approach it, and the style and the look of it. And nowadays, television is so cinematic. I mean, the audiences are so smart and sophisticated, and they want that cinematic storytelling. And thankfully, the networks and the studios support that. So when you get to go to these spectacular locations where you can put a 12 mil lens on and it's amazing, that's really fun. I mean, I love shooting with wide lenses, not always a 12 mil, but I love shooting with wide lenses. I love to have that cinematic scope. And you can really, when you go to real locations, when you go to these places that you have these stunning 360 views, you you can really take advantage of it and give a show a cinematic look. And we had one of our directors came in, Stephen Kay, in a later episode, and he was basically, his whole episode was all in one location, but it was a spectacular location. He shot the whole thing practically with a 12 mil lens. That's what made me think of it. And it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. And so it just being able to set up that scope and you know, I really love it. Whoever is coming in to direct on a show, to give them the creative freedom to tell the story the way they want to tell the story. And I feel like if you set up a palette that is obviously specific to our story, but also has the room to grow and evolve creatively, that makes it a really fun place, an exciting place for other directors to come to.
Well, congratulations on your work on the show, and thank you so much for joining us today. We will bring you back in a few minutes later on to talk with our entire panel.
Thanks so much, Daniel.